live. It's the Craig Bohl Football Show. KX4 and Gate City Bank present the Craig Bohl Football Show.
The North Dakota State Bison ended last season with a bang, and they started this season with a bigger bang. The two-time defending FCS national champions marched into Manhattan, Kansas, and stuck the reigning Big 12 champions with a rare opening game loss. We welcome to the set the head football coach, Craig Bohl. Congratulations on this victory, Coach. Where does this rank? This is a monumental effort and a monumental accomplishment for the school.
Well, it's a pretty dicey question you've asked me there. You know, we've had so many big wins at NDSU, but to go in and play a team like this, not only a team but a program, and make a statement, a victory like that, I think it's got to rank at the very top.
Did the guys believe, what was the attitude going into this game? Did they believe they could walk in there and take this one? Well,
you know what's interesting, I think that was probably one of the biggest factors, and as I went up and I talked to Grant Olson, Grant was saying, geez, Coach, I mean, you guys are talking, it's not like we're tackling Adrian Peterson or something. You know, we got a good team too, and he was right, and so I think our guys just went in and competed.
Well, let's break this down. It was a terrific crowd, second biggest crowd of all time. Their biggest crowd was a game against Nebraska way back in the day, but this was the second biggest one ever. Tremendous atmosphere in this ball game here, and you start out a great play calling all night by Brent Vegan, but the fly sweep to Ryan Smith worked early.
You know what, really did some nice job blocking there by Andrew Grothman, and Ryan's got excellent speed. Ryan made big time plays all throughout the game, and this was one a minute.
Defensively, guys just flying around. There was a lot of motion on the field early.
Well, we've got a speed on defense and a lot of explosion, and here you can see Kyle Emanuel come up and make a nice tackle on the quarterback.
Teams rotating possessions here. First catch for the talented youngster Kerry Woods here.
Well, you know what, it's always good to get that first catch, and you know, he's a redshirt freshman from Bemidji, and it's great to see him out there competing.
It was kind of good early to weather that storm, and there was really no traction offensively for either team, was there?
Well, you're going to find that at the beginning portion of the game. A lot of time defenses, the speed of the game is going to make it difficult for offenses to move.
Return of Colton Hegel. He played great. He was really terrific at stuffing the run.
Well, he's a champion, and he's a great tackler. And here you can see a good job, just a swarming defense, a lot of white jerseys right around the ball carrier. That was a wildcat play and stopped their drive.
Christian Dudzik now the full-time punt returner, and he made a really big play early in the game.
Well, Christian's a talented player, and it's interesting. I mean, he grew up sitting in that stadium and had purple all over his walls, and this flipped the field over and put us in great scoring position.
Yeah, it changed the momentum, no question. His speed was great there, and then that running game started to really churn out some yards. Sam O'Jury, talk about his offseason. He looked really good.
You know, Sam's picked up some really good weight, and our offensive line did a great job blocking. That looks like a real simple play. Actually, it's a very complicated play, and a lot of people don't run it anymore because it's hard, and Sam did a nice job moving the chains.
3rd and goal from the 5. You go to Mr. Reliable, Ryan Smith.
Well, great job of protecting, and Brock put the ball right on the money. Ryan's open, gets himself open, and puts us up 7-0. That's a huge deal because it kind of stayed off their motion, and you can see our fans are fired up.
Talk about the special teams. You decided to pooch kick. They had some really dynamic return guys.
Oh, they did, and Ben LeCompte may have been the player of the game. That's a very difficult kickoff to do.
K-State started to heat up a little bit. They have terrific receivers.
Well, they really do, and they did a nice job protecting early in the game, and their quarterback got in a rhythm. We kept the ball in front of us. This Lockett guy is an all Big 12 guy.
You get the 4th down stop, though, so you stall them and just continually play well on defense early.
Well, you know, I think we've got some good speed and explosion. Here you can see a really nice job. Brian Shepard comes up out of the secondary to make a big-time play.
We're in the 2nd quarter now. They do force a 3-and-out. One of the few times all night they did stuff the run.
They had some good penetration there, and we missed a block, and John Crockett wasn't able to get anything going, and we forced us to punt.
Their new quarterback, Jake Waters, he does throw a nice deep ball, doesn't he?
He really does, and here he's moving around in the pocket, and the receiver got right behind Colton Hegel, and it was disappointing, but they've got really good players that are going to make some plays. We knew we had to stay in the fight, keep on hanging in there.
I thought a key part of the first half was you kept flipping the field position in your favor. You get 14 yards here. This drive stalls, but the field position was flipped.
Without question. And here, once again, you can see that A-gap power offensive line did a great job, and Sam split them. And you're right here. Now Ben came in, and I think he had 3 punts inside the 20. Here you put him down. You know, this is all the way down about the 3-yard line, and that has a huge impact on the offensive play calling.
And you have them pinned. It's important to keep them pinned, and they have an error here on a snap, a big play here.
Well, without question. That's one of the downsides of a shotgun, and they came up. I don't think the quarterback was ready, and the center snapped it. And here we put the quarterback under some duress. Nice job of pass rushing by Cole and some other guys coming across, and Marcus comes up with a big pick.
Yeah, not a good idea to throw it down the field on Marcus Williams' side. He gets the interception, but here's a missed opportunity right before half, though. Had the momentum and had an opportunity here.
You know what? These are things the young players, you're right, Kevin Bodlin had an opportunity there for a touchdown. What was great, you can see him later on in the game come back and answer with a great catch.
You went to the field goal here, and just a little bit left hits the upright.
It sure did, and you know, once again, Adams, an excellent place kicker, and later on he came back and maintained his composure for a field goal.
You know what, though, all in all, 7-7 at the half, a terrific first half by the Bison. Brock Jensen, the start of a very good night, 7 of 14, 44 yards. Marcus Williams had a very nice first half, only 19 yards rushing for Kansas State. A big reason for that, the return of Colton Heagle at safety, and he is first up on the Bison hot seat. Is your room neat or a disaster?
Definitely a disaster. My mom always tells me when I'm back home.
Did you need training wheels when you learned how to ride a bike?
I'm pretty sure everybody's got to have training wheels, so yeah, I did.
Which do you like less, doctor or dentist?
Well, lately it's been doctors, but I always hate the dentist.
When you dress casual, what kind of shoes do you wear?
Sandals, open-toed sandals.
Who was your hero as a child?
Probably Brett Favre, being a couple minutes from Green Bay.
Excellent choice. Facebook or Twitter?
Been to Twitter, on Twitter lately.
Favorite professional sports team?
Gonna go with the Packers.
Excellent. Least favorite sport to watch?
Oh man, you know, I've been thinking about this one. I'll probably have to say softball.
Would you rather have it 100 degrees or 10 below zero?
10 below, I hate the heat, it's too hot.
What do you like most about Coach Bohl?
His quotes, he has great quotes all the time. He just had new ones today.
How do you want Bison fans to remember you?
My mustache for sure.
Coach, it's 7-7 at half. Did you feel like you had to make many adjustments?
Yeah, we did, but you know, we've got a very capable staff. We're playing this game to go into the fourth quarter, so to be tied at halftime was a pretty good position.
Let's take a look at this second half. It got very interesting in a real hurry. Kansas State, you know, they have a great offense, a lot of talented players, and you face some adversity here. They hit you with a couple of big plays in the early part of the third quarter.
You know what? They did a nice pump fake here on Marcus and got behind the coverage, and you know, they've got good players here. As we said, Lockett's an all Big 12 receiver, and they're going to make big plays, and we need to come back and respond well.
That was the third play of the second half. Now, Brock, the one throw that he would like to have back probably.
Yeah, you know what? You throw the ball down the heart of the field sometimes. Number 22, their safety, being a nice play. He got hit by the turf monster there, but you know, they've got good players as well.
So now they have a drive going again. They switch quarterbacks on 3rd and 3. They go to a runner.
Yeah, this guy's really a talented. Sam's, we didn't know which quarterback we were going to face in the preseason, but he is a really, really athletic guy, and I was a little bit surprised they did not use him more.
So it's gut check time, down 21-7. You need a drive, you need to sustain some plays, and you do it.
Yeah, you can count on old Ryan Smith coming up with big plays. Brock put the ball right on the money, and this was a critical drive for us to stay on the field and then shift some momentum here. A nice job by Brock and coming up with a little bootleg pass, and Andrew Bonnet did a nice job.
Hey, kudos to Kevin Vodlin. He had the play in the first half, but you go right back to him, and he makes a big play.
Well, I thought Coach Vegan did a great job putting the ball right back in Vod's hands and instilling some confidence, and he's got a bright future for us.
That Waters is a pocket passer. He's known as a pocket passer. You started to get him a little uncomfortable here, though.
Here we did a nice job. This was a blitz checkup that we did, a blitz check, and they had no backs in the backfield for protection and came up. This was a huge play, too. I think the ball was about on the 2-yard line. Samuel Jury does a nice job splitting outside the tight end, and you see he's got excellent speed, and for a big guy, I thought he was going to score a touchdown.
That might have been the jolt that switched the momentum overall in the game when you're pinned like that, too, because you do end up getting points out of this drive. It's a field goal, but those are an important 3 points.
Without question, and here you see Adam Keller come back and answer the bell, and he's got confidence and splits the upright on a 40-yard field goal. Now we're down by 4.
Now it's fourth quarter, a big play early on in the fourth quarter. They get a 4th and 1, and they get it on the sneak.
Yeah, you know what? Our defensive line did a great job here. It was a real close snap. I was I was in the official's ear right there on the sideline, and I think they even reviewed this one, and they came up with a first down.
Huge sack, though.
Well, really a great job by Travis Beck being disruptive. He launched himself, and Kyle Emanuel came up and cleaned him up, and this was a big play. Here you can see Travis. He'll be back this next week, but he's got a tough shoulder to work on.
Okay, so it's 21-17. It's late fourth quarter. Here's the epic drive. It starts right now with a 3rd and 11 to Derek Lang.
This is a drive that people are going to talk about for many years. I'll always remember it. It was a big screen pass to Derek getting it going.
The slant was working all night. Across the middle, comeback plays like this one to Ryan Smith.
Well, once again, Brock put the ball right on the money. Good protection, and Ryan found the open spot and moved the chains again.
Amazing timing from Brock Jensen and Zach Vraw all night on this play.
Well, this was once again a different formation that we used, and a nice throw and a great catch by Zach.
That was a 3rd and 7. This is a 3rd and 3. You're now in the red zone.
That's a huge throw. They came with an overload blitz. We didn't have enough blockers to pick it up, put them into man-to-man coverage, and put the ball on the money to Zach. Here's a huge play. It's an option play, and I thought Brock was going to get in on this one. Now we're very mindful of the clock. With the timeout, we had 2 plays left.
That was a brilliant call on that option, executed perfectly, and Brock's such a tough runner in here.
Well, Brock's a guy that's not going to be denied. Time and time again, he answers the bell, and boy, what a great drive that was.
Brock comes up big in big moments, doesn't he?
Oh, every time.
So now on defense, they have a little time left. Grant Olson out in the flat makes a big play to seal the win.
Good pressure, and that's Grant's first interception. I knew when it went up and 2 guys were going to have it. I always say there's 2 hungry dogs and 1 piece of meat, and he came up with the meat right there.
Boy, the end of this game, it will be burned in my memory forever. The look on the guy's face and the utter shock on the looks of the Kansas State fans up in the crowd. What a brilliant victory for the Bison. The final score, as we look at some of the stats as well, was 24-21. Brock Jensen, very efficient, 21 of 30. Ryan Smith, 8 catches, a lot of those big 3rd down catches. Sam O'Jury, big-time tough yards. He had the big 66-yard run as well, and Colton Hegel did lead the team in tackles. Let's hear from the players after the game.
There was some point between the 3rd quarter where we were down by 14 points, and Coach Bohl, he said, a lot of teams will lay down against these guys, but we're not. We're going to fight. And we just all believed in each other, and we fought back, and we came back and won.
Great experience. It's a great team win. Kansas State is one heck of a team. They really came out ready to play today, but we just kept preaching on the sidelines, finish. When they had that 14-point lead, we couldn't give up. And we had to keep playing by the football.
It's awesome. I used to go to games when I was younger all the time, and I looked up where I sat for all those games, and I walked in here. I remember those games, and I had that same feeling, that loud crowd, the excitement, and it's really great to come in here and get a win.
As always, great comments from the players, and now it's time for our Nodak Mutual Insurance Player of the Game. Pretty easy choice in this one. He just made big plays. Senior quarterback Brock Jensen simply played like a champion. The Wisconsin native engineered a near flawless offensive effort by the Bison. It started early with a great strike to Ryan Smith to set the tone on the scoreboard. And of course, late in the game, he led the Bison on the best drive in program history to seal this huge win. On that drive, he was 7 of 7 for 53 yards. There were 4 of 4 on 3rd downs. For the game, Jensen 21 of 30 for 165 yards and 3 total touchdowns.
We knew that this was going to be one of the toughest matchups in our program's history. We've seen the Minnesotas, the Colorado States, the Kansases, teams like that, and not taking anything away from those teams. They're very good, but Kansas State's kind of a different animal, and they're an extremely good football team. They were the Big 12 champs last year, I think it's fair to say that this is the biggest win in our program's history, besides the national championships, of course.
Great comments right there. As we marvel at the play of Brock Jensen, let's talk about that final drive, Coach. That was 18 plays, 80 yards, 8.5 minutes of clock. That was like the old Huskers out there.
Well, it certainly was. As a matter of fact, Coach Osborne did give me a call, had a smile on his face. And also want to give a shout out to Sanford Health because we were able to stay fresh.
Yeah.
And those Kansas State guys were cramping up, and so there was a plan for us to stay on the field. Sanford Health people are the best.
And it was hot. There's no question the heat was a factor, so they helped in that regard, didn't they?
Well, it certainly did.
Yes.
Without question.
Third downs, 10 of 17. A lot of the third down plays were long ones, like this one with Derek Lang. You needed 10, he got 11. It's just terrific third down execution.
Well, I thought our players executed a masterful plan that Brent Vegan had put together. We geared ourselves up to have a shot in the fourth quarter. I said we're going to be like a NASCAR race car. We're going to bring that car across the finish line with hardly any fuel in it, and we did that.
What's the secret on third down? You know, this has been really a trend over the last couple of years. You've been very efficient on third down. Is that the experience and just playmaking ability of these guys?
Well, I think a lot of it is their competency and their confidence, and then it leads to a conviction that, hey, we will get the first down.
Just outstanding effort on third down, 10 of 17 against the reigning Big 12 champs. Now, let's talk about the offensive line a little bit. In the offseason, there was some transition there. Joe Lund voted the best center in the country last year. He graduates. You move Colville from guard to center. Zach Johnson moves into guard. He starts. I thought they really performed well.
They performed very well, and you know, you're looking for your best combination. Scott Fuchs had talked about in the future that Josh would be an excellent center. Move Zach Johnson in there. Those guys work well together. They've all put on good weight. I wish they'd shave a little bit, but you know what? As long as they keep protecting Brock, we'll let them have those whiskers.
Going into the Kansas State game, talking about the offensive line, did you see something where you felt like you could run right at them? Did you feel like the power of your offensive line matched up well with their D-line?
We certainly did, and the style of play that's played in the Big 12 is more of a skilled league, wide open offenses, and this is old-fashioned Bison football. A lot of people don't want to do it. It's hard-nosed. It's hard to do. You got to be disciplined, but that's our trademark.
A lot of the credit for this huge win for the Bison program goes to the coordinators, Brent Vegan, Chris Kleiman. We're going to talk with both of those guys. They have quite the stable to work with as the Bison go into this season. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. With their win on Friday night, the Bison are now 29-2 in their last 31 games. But even more impressive is the Kansas State win was their 11th straight true road game victory. That's tough to do. It all starts at the top with Coach Bohl, but the two coordinators are making their marks as true rising stars in the profession. Jamal Spencer sat down with Chris Kleiman and Brent Vegan as they prepared for this season.
In the last 3 years, the Bison have played more games than any other FCS program in the country. Of course, with more games comes more practice time.
It is more of a grind. It's more of a strain on players and on coaches, but in the same respect, we see more things.
Chris Kleiman enters his third season with the Bison, second as play caller. He's used the extra practices to develop depth on the best defense in the country, allowing for more flexibility in his play calling.
I know when I first got here, we didn't really have too many calls. I know we had some very dominant players, but it was pretty much, well, we don't have necessarily the talent or the ability to do some of the things that we would like to do. Now that we have that, we got a lot of guys that can play man coverage, and we can do a lot of these things.
No matter if I was a coordinator, if Coach Hayes was the coordinator, no matter who the linebacker coach was or D-line coach, everybody buys in and everybody understands that we're all in it for the one common goal, and that is to be successful on Saturdays.
Offensive coordinator Brent Vegan enters his 16th season as an NDSU assistant, and in his 5th season as coordinator, he's developed the flair for the dramatic, knowing when to call the trick play that will spark the team.
You know, we prepare for every situation, and sometimes, you know, those plays don't get run, but you hold them for the right time, and the kids execute, and it certainly looks good at the time.
And both coaches expect continuity to have a large role in their success this season.
Not much we don't know about each other as a staff. You know how people are going to react, and as a team, you know what to expect. And I think more so for those players. They know what to expect out of us as coaches.
There's a great trust factor, and it's got to go both ways. I mean, I trust them. I believe they trust me, and that's the best way you have a working relationship.
Coach, talk about your coordinators. I thought particularly Friday night, Brent Vegan was terrific. Chris Kleiman has a knack for really making adjustments. Both those guys are just solid.
What people don't see is their value system, and they're men of strong faith, and they're good family men. They make great decisions. Players have a great deal of respect, and they're very skilled at their craft, and we're very fortunate to have coordinators of that quality.
Well, let's take a look at the future in our Peterson Farm Seed future crop of Bison. A stellar recruiting class is on board this year. One of those future stars could be Moorhead High product Chase Morlock. Morlock had a great fall camp, and he says playing for former Bison stars Kevin Feeney and Tyler Roll at Moorhead has helped his transition.
They prepared me well. They gave me the little heads up of what to expect, and big thing, just finishing everything was a big key and tip they all gave me. And the coaches here too have helped so much, and all the upperclassmen here, they've really helped smooth out this transition.
Tell us about Chase Morlock, Coach.
Well, it's always great to have a player from this area, and he's a tremendous competitor. When we were recruiting Chase, we knew he had athleticism. We didn't make a determination whether to play him at linebacker or running back. He's done a good job at the running back position. I think you're going to see him get some significant playing time on special teams throughout this year.
Well, next up for the Bison is Ferris State. We're going to talk about Ferris State coming up and wrap up the show. Stay with us.
It's time for another game-changing play in history. Presented by Pioneer brand T-Series soybeans. Be a game changer.
Webb, the redshirt freshman, thrown into the frying pan, takes the snap. Rush comes from his right, sets up and throws deep over the middle. It's caught by Beery, the tight end, who fumbles it. Recovered by the Bison at the 37.
Daniel Leaves laid a big hit on him, forced the fumble, and John Pike recovered it.
Be a game changer. Plant Pioneer brand T-Series soybeans. From DuPont Pioneer.
Well, Coach, so you beat Kansas and Kansas State. Now, that play was from the Kansas game. A look back in history there in this K-State game. Great momentum heading into this Ferris State game now for week 2.
Well, I think it's important. Teams typically improve the most between the first and the second ball game, and we've got to have a good week of practice, and we can't rest on last week's game. That's gone. This one is the most important game we've got on the schedule.
Kansas State to Ferris State, obviously a different talent level between these two teams, but your team is so experienced and focused, that kind of thing doesn't really bother them, does it? They just are worried about what they do.
Well, they haven't been that way, and we're going to make sure it doesn't go that way. I can tell you that. It's always a challenge, so a lot of people patting you on the back. We've got to improve. We've got to make strides to get better.
All right, folks, huge win for the Bison. The season's off to a great start. We will see you at Gate City Bank Field at the Fargo Dome this week for Ferris State and the Bison. Have a great week.